James Corville was 34 years old when he disappeared in the Needles district of Canyonlands National Park on October 12, 2022. A documentary filmmaker specializing in remote landscapes, Corville had established a reputation for meticulous preparation and technical proficiency through his award-winning series American Wilderness: The Forgotten Corners. Park records confirm he obtained a 7-day backcountry permit for solo hiking and filming in the park's southeastern quadrant, an area characterized by sandstone spires, narrow canyons, and minimal trail infrastructure. According to the permit application, Corville listed his intended route as a 28-mile loop beginning at the Elephant Hill Trailhead, proceeding through Chesler Park, and returning via the Joint Trail. His emergency contact was listed as Miranda Weiss, his producer and partner at Apex Documentary Productions. The last confirmed sighting of Corville occurred at 8:43 a.m. on October 12th, documented by the park entrance station security camera. Footage shows Corville driving a 2019 silver Toyota 4Runner with California license plate 7KG H432. He appeared alert and in good spirits, exchanging brief conversation with Ranger Teresa Houlihan, who later described him as completely normal, professional, and prepared for the conditions. Weather records indicate clear skies with temperatures ranging from 45-degree Car overnight to 72-degree Corica during daylight hours, consistent with seasonal norms for the region. A review of Corville's outfitting, conducted post-disappearance, through inventory of his residence and statements from associates, confirmed he carried appropriate equipment including 5 liters of water capacity, a BioLite solar charging system, freeze-dried meals for 8 days, a Western mountaineering sleeping bag rated for 20-degree Carf, and his standard filming equipment, a Sony PXW FS7 M2 camera, 2 additional lenses, a DJI Ronin S gimbal stabilizer, and 3 extra battery packs. When Corville failed to return by October 19th, the scheduled end of his permit period, Miranda Weiss contacted park authorities. According to the incident report filed by Chief Ranger Daniel McPherson, Weiss reported that Corville had arranged to call her upon return to cellular service, with a contingency window of no more than 24 hours past his expected departure. At 10:17 a.m. on October 20th, Weiss's call initiated Search and Rescue Protocol 7B, the standard procedure for overdue backcountry hikers with no immediate distress signal. The initial response involved dispatching 2 rangers to the Elephant Hill parking area, where they located Corville's vehicle at 11:42 a.m. The vehicle was locked, with no signs of disturbance. A perimeter check revealed no indications of recent human activity within a 100-yard radius. By 2:00 p.m. on October 20th, a formal search operation was mobilized involving 6 ground teams, 2 canine units from the Grand County Sheriff's Department, and aerial support from a Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter equipped with FLIR thermal imaging. The search expanded methodically over the next 14 days, ultimately covering 98 square miles of terrain and involving 43 professional searchers and 112 volunteers. According to the San Juan County Search and Rescue After Action Report, ground teams conducted grid pattern searches with 15-meter spacing in areas of highest probability, transitioning to 50-meter spacing in lower probability zones. Helicopter operations logged 42 flight hours. Drainage areas were given special attention due to the risk of flash flooding, though weather records indicated no precipitation had occurred during Corville's permit period. On November 3, 2022, after exhausting all conventional search protocols and finding no trace of James Corville beyond his parked vehicle, the active search was downgraded to limited continuous, a designation allowing for routine patrol monitoring but discontinuing dedicated resources. The case remained open under the jurisdiction of the National Park Service Investigative Services Branch, with Special Agent Marissa Coltrane assigned as lead investigator. In her initial case, summary dated November 10, 2022, Agent Coltrane noted, "The absence of any physical evidence, no clothing fragments, no equipment components, no blood evidence, no signs of struggle, no tracks beyond established trails, presents an investigative anomaly, subject's extensive experience, adequate provisioning, and favorable weather conditions contradict typical missing person scenarios in this environment." Throughout 2023, 4 limited-scale search operations were conducted on a quarterly basis, focusing on previously unexamined terrain features and utilizing advances in drone-based search technology. These efforts yielded no new information. Interviews with 17 hikers who had been in the Needles district during the relevant time period produced no actionable leads. Analysis of Corvell's personal communications, financial records, and medical history revealed no indications of intent to disappear voluntarily, no evidence of depression or suicidal ideation, no financial pressures, and no known conflicts or threats. The absence of a body, despite extensive search efforts in terrain that typically preserves human remains through desiccation, led to the development of multiple investigative theories, including the possibility of intentional disappearance, though this was considered unlikely given Corvell's professional success and personal stability. On December 7, 2025, 3 years and 57 days after James Corvell's disappearance, San Juan County Sheriff's Deputy Lucas B. Gay responded to a call from Moira Henderson, owner of the Recapture Lodge in Bluff, Utah, approximately 73 miles southeast of Corvell's last known position. According to Deputy B. Gay's incident report, Henderson contacted authorities after becoming concerned about a guest who had checked in 3 days earlier under the name Martin Crane. Henderson reported that the individual had paid cash for a 7-day stay, remained in his room except for brief exits to purchase minimal supplies from the attached convenience store, and had repeatedly declined housekeeping services. Henderson's concern escalated when she observed the guest through his partially open doorway, sitting motionless for over 2 hours while staring at a laptop screen, an observation she made while delivering clean towels that had been requested by telephone. Deputy B. Gay arrived at the Recapture Lodge at 4:12 p.m. and, after consulting with Henderson, conducted a welfare check at room 14. His body camera footage, which has since been entered into evidence, shows him knocking 3 times with no response. After announcing his presence as law enforcement conducting a welfare check, Begay used the management key to open the door. The footage shows a standard motel room with minimal personal effects. Seated at a small desk, facing away from the door, was a male subject later confirmed to be James Corvell. The room was illuminated only by the screen of a laptop computer. Deputy Begay's repeated verbal attempts to engage the subject received no response. Upon approaching to within approximately 3 feet of the seated figure, Begay observed that the subject appeared to be watching video footage on the laptop. The footage appeared to show a desert landscape with sandstone formations consistent with Canyonlands National Park. Begay reported that the subject's physical condition was immediately concerning: significant weight loss, matted hair, untrimmed beard, and soiled clothing. Medical evaluation would later document a body weight of 112 pounds on Corvell's 5'11" frame, consistent with extended malnutrition. When Begay placed his hand on Corvell's shoulder, the subject showed no startled response but slowly turned to face the deputy. According to Begay's report, Corvell's first words were, I've been watching myself disappear for 3 years, 2 months, and 25 days. After ascertaining that Corvell required medical attention, Deputy Begay requested EMS support and secured the scene, including the laptop computer, which remained powered on. Corvell was transported to Blue Mountain Hospital in Blanding, where he was admitted for severe malnutrition, dehydration, and psychiatric evaluation. The laptop and other items from the motel room were collected as evidence and transferred to the custody of Special Agent Coltrane, who arrived on scene at 7:23 p.m. after being notified of Corvell's recovery. Preliminary analysis of the laptop, conducted by FBI forensic computer analyst Teresa Wong at the Salt Lake City field office, revealed that the device contained a single video file with a duration of 76 minutes and 34 seconds. The file was time-stamped as having been created on October 13, 2022, the day after Corvell entered Canyonlands National Park. According to Wong's analysis, the video had been played on a continuous loop for approximately 73 consecutive hours prior to the laptop being taken into evidence, requiring the device to be plugged into a power source continuously during this period. The video file itself appeared to show footage filmed by Corvell during his hike in the Needles district. The content begins with conventional landscape documentation, consistent with Corvell's professional work, but approximately 42 minutes into the recording, the footage takes what Wong described in her report as a significant deviation from expected content. After being medically stabilized over a period of 7 days, Corvell was interviewed by Special Agent Coltrane on December 14, 2025. The interview, conducted with the presence and consent of Dr. Elizabeth Rahman, the attending psychiatrist, was recorded and transcribed according to FBI protocol. During this initial interview, Corvell demonstrated what Dr. Rahman characterized as a complex presentation of trauma response with elements of dissociative disorder and possible psychosis, though she noted that his cognitive function and memory appeared largely intact. Corvell provided a detailed account of his activities on October 12th and 13, 2022, describing his entry into the park, his progress along the planned route, and his decision to explore an unnamed side canyon approximately 4.7 miles from the Elephant Hill trailhead. According to Corvell, this deviation was motivated by unusual light conditions that he believed would enhance his documentary footage. Corvell stated that at approximately 3:15 p.m. on October 13th, while filming in this side canyon, he encountered what he initially believed to be unusual geological features in a narrow passage between two sandstone walls. He described setting up his camera on the tripod to document these features, then experiencing what he called a fundamental shift in the physical properties of the environment. In his statement, Corvell said, "The air became dense, like moving through water. The light changed, not dimmer or brighter, but somehow less present. And then I saw myself from outside myself operating the camera. I was simultaneously the filmmaker and the observer of the filmmaker. I watched as something began to emerge from the rock face behind where I was standing. It had form but no features I could describe using existing language. It enveloped the me that was operating the camera, not violently, but with a kind of terrible intimacy." At this point in the interview, according to Dr. Rahman's notes, Corvell exhibited elevated stress responses but insisted on continuing. He explained that he experienced what he described as bifurcation, becoming both the person being enveloped by the phenomenon and a disembodied observer recording the event through his own camera. Corvell claimed that this observer aspect of himself recovered the camera after his physical body had been absorbed into the stone. then exited the canyon, carrying both the camera and a shadow version of himself. According to his account, he then existed in a state of perpetual present tense, unable to interact with the physical world in normal ways, but capable of observing and, to a limited extent, influencing electronic devices. Corville maintained that he had spent the intervening 3 years in a form of non-existence, primarily observing the investigation into his own disappearance and attempting to understand what had happened to him. When asked how he had reappeared in physical form at the recapture lodge, Corville was unable to provide a coherent explanation, stating only that the cycle completed itself and that he had emerged from the footage 3 days before being discovered by Deputy Begay. He claimed to have no memory of how he acquired the clothing he was wearing, the cash used to pay for the motel room, or the laptop containing the footage. When shown the laptop collected from the motel room, Corville identified it as his personal device, which, according to the original missing persons report, had not been among the equipment he took into Canyonlands. Serial number verification later confirmed it was indeed Corville's laptop, which Miranda Weiss had reported as being left at his Los Angeles residence. Forensic analysis of the video file found on the laptop revealed several anomalies that remain unexplained. According to the FBI technical report dated January 8, 2026, the footage shows characteristics inconsistent with the documented capabilities of Corville's equipment. Specifically, portions of the video display perspective shifts that would require multiple camera positions despite being recorded in a single continuous take. Additionally, the audio component contains frequencies outside the range of Corville's microphone specifications, including infrasonic elements below 20 Hz that become prominent during the sequence Corville identified as the moment of his disappearance. Most significantly, frame-by-frame analysis of this sequence shows what appears to be a recording of Corville himself being gradually obscured by what the technical report describes as a visual anomaly with characteristics similar to digital artifacts, though inconsistent with known compression errors or sensor malfunctions. The investigation expanded to include geological assessment of the location depicted in the footage. On January 22, 2026, a team led by Dr. Marcus Peterson of the United States Geological Survey, accompanied by Special Agent Coltrane and 2 National Park Service rangers, used GPS coordinates extracted from metadata in the video file to locate the side canyon described by Corville. The site, approximately 2.3 miles east of the joint trail in an unmapped drainage, contained a narrow passage between sandstone walls consistent with the setting shown in the video. Instrument readings at the site detected no unusual electromagnetic fields, radiation levels, or geological instabilities. Ground-penetrating radar revealed no cavities or structural anomalies within the sandstone. No physical evidence connected to Corville's disappearance was found at the location. Dr. Peterson's report noted only that the rock formation displayed slightly atypical erosion patterns, and that certain sections of the sandstone contained mineral inclusions not commonly found in the Needles District geology. Subsequent psychiatric evaluation of Corville, conducted over a 6-week period at the University of Utah Neuropsychiatric Institute, produced inconclusive results. While the evaluation team, led by Dr. Sarah Kishimoto, documented clear evidence of trauma and dissociative symptoms, they found no indication of pre-existing mental health conditions that would explain Corville's account. Cognitive testing revealed above-average function with no signs of thought disorder or confabulation typically associated with delusional narratives. Dr. Kishimoto's summary report stated, Mr. Corville presents a unique clinical picture. He maintains a detailed and internally consistent account of physically impossible experiences without the cognitive distortions typically present in psychotic disorders. His narrative has remained stable over repeated interviews, and he acknowledges the implausibility of his experiences while insisting on their reality. Physical examination revealed additional unexplained findings. According to the medical report prepared by Dr. Alan Bronfman at the University of Utah Medical Center, Corville's body showed no expected signs of 3 years of homelessness or wilderness survival. Despite severe malnutrition consistent with recent inadequate caloric intake, he displayed none of the dermatological damage, joint deterioration, or dental issues typically associated with extended exposure or self-neglect. Most notably, carbon-14 testing of hair and nail samples produced results described by Dr. Bronfman as inconsistent with normal biological processes, suggesting cellular-level anomalies that could not be explained by known medical conditions. On February 17, 2026, Miranda Weiss was permitted to meet with Corville under supervised conditions. According to the observation report filed by Dr. Kishimoto, who was present during the interaction, Corville recognized Weiss immediately and engaged in conversation that demonstrated detailed recall of their shared history and professional relationship. Weiss later stated in her witness testimony that Corville's personality and memories appeared intact, though his affect was profoundly altered and his perspective on time had become non-linear in a way that was disturbing but not random. When Weiss showed Corville footage from their previous documentary projects, he was able to provide specific details about filming locations and technical decisions that were verified as accurate. However, when discussing the events surrounding his disappearance, Corville reverted to the same account he had given investigators, insisting that he had experienced a phenomenon beyond conventional understanding. On March 3, 2026, after extensive consultation between medical professionals, law enforcement agencies, and Corville's family, he was released from inpatient care to the custody of his sister, Catherine Corville Martinez, with mandatory outpatient psychiatric treatment and weekly monitoring by the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit. The investigation into the circumstances of his disappearance and reappearance remains active, classified under the FBI's Unusual Phenomena Protocol, established in 2019 for cases involving events that defy conventional explanatory frameworks. Special Agent Coltrane's most recent case summary, dated April 15, 2026, concludes, while conventional investigative approaches have failed to fully resolve the Corville case, multiple lines of evidence confirm that James Corville did indeed disappear under unusual circumstances in Canyonlands National Park in October 2022 and reappeared in December 2025. The intervening period, the mechanism of his disappearance, and the manner of his return remain unexplained. The investigation continues with focus on the video evidence, which represents the only contemporary documentation of whatever occurred in that remote canyon. The video file itself remains in secure storage at FBI headquarters in Quantico, Virginia. Access is restricted to personnel with Unusual Phenomena Protocol Clearance Level 3 or higher. According to the classification document, this restriction was implemented after 3 technicians involved in the initial analysis reported experiencing what the document describes as persistent perceptual disturbances after viewing the footage in its entirety. The final 14 minutes and 22 seconds of the video have been placed under additional security protocols requiring special authorization for viewing. This segment, according to the limited description provided in the case file, appears to show James Corville emerging from the same rock formation into which he disappeared 3 years older, malnourished, and wearing the clothing in which he was discovered at the recapture lodge. The timestamp on this portion of the footage, however, indicates it was recorded on October 13, 2022, creating what the FBI technical analysis describes as a temporal paradox with no known technological explanation. James Corville continues to maintain that he spent 3 years caught in what he calls a loop of observation, watching himself disappear while being unable to interact with the physical world. He has declined all media interviews and has not returned to filmmaking. His only public statement, released through his attorney on May 6, 2026, reads, "What happened to me in the desert cannot be adequately conveyed through existing language or understood through current scientific frameworks. I ask for privacy as I attempt to reconcile my experience with the world to which I have returned. The footage contains everything I could possibly say, and more than anyone should witness." The statement concludes with a warning that has been interpreted variously as evidence of continued psychological disturbance or as a genuine caution based on unexplained experience. Some places on this earth exist in multiple states simultaneously. Some recordings capture more than their creators intend, and sometimes watching is not a passive act, but a participation that can consume the observer as completely as the observed.